Today's short course is to answer the question, how do I get an edge over people with more work experience? So some of you may be applying for fellowships that you feel are somewhat ambitious given the level of work experience that you have. I was actually in the same position when I applied for the Ian Axford Fellowship in Public Policy in New Zealand because it was called a mid-career fellowship. And I was 31 years old at the time that I applied. I'd also looked at previous fellows for this program and saw that some of them were in their 40s, 50s, even 60s. And so I, like you, was a little bit concerned that I didn't have adequate work experience to be an interesting candidate for this particular fellowship. However, I also had a couple other tricks up my sleeve because I know that there are other really important and compelling pieces of the fellowship application that are much more important than work experience. So what are those three things? They are alignment, impact, and feasibility, and what I like to call AIF. So what are these? Alignment means that your goal advances the mission of the funding organization. So in my application, I very clearly specified how both my project goal and my career goals aligned with the mission and goals of the fellowship organization. So, for example, with the New Zealand Fellowship, their mission was to bring policy professionals to New Zealand so that public policy ideas could be shared and that there could be a mutually beneficial relationship between the US and New Zealand in this exchange program. So when I thought about what I was going to propose and how I was going to propose it, I knew that I had to make sure that I was aligning my project with that goal, that there had to be a benefit to the US and a benefit to New Zealand in whatever I proposed. And so I made sure that was very clear in my application, first and foremost. Another thing is impact. And there's actually two different types of impact that you need to express in your application. The first is how the fellowship will have a unique career impact on you personally. So the fellowship program wants to invest in people that have a lot to gain from the fellowship experience. And that's not just the funding or just the opportunity itself to put on your resume. They want to know that the fellowship is going to give you unique professional network, a unique professional skills, an experience or work experience in an industry that you can't access anywhere else or in any other opportunity. So for them, if you are coming into the fellowship and you're able to express that this is going to have a unique career impact, that's going to make you a stronger candidate that will edge out others where it's less clear. Secondly is explaining how the fellowship experience will result in a social impact. What will your being a fellow do for the mission of the organization and your social impact in the world? Will you be conducting some work that will help achieve the mission? Will you be impacting people with your work? What sort of good will come out of this? And as long as that social impact aligns with the goals and mission of the funding body, that's going to make for a really strong application. Finally is feasibility. And this is particularly true for fellowships where you have to propose a project. They want to be sure that the approach to your project is challenging, but you don't want it to be too ambitious given the time period, resources needed, and your skills. No matter what level of work experience, credentials, job titles that some candidates may have, they may be proposing a project that is not particularly feasible. It's really important that the project that you're planning to do during your fellowship can be completed in the fellowship and can be successful. And again, is aligning with the goals, will have a social impact, and will have an important impact on your career. So again, when you're going through your fellowship application, think about these three elements. And if you can nail alignment, impact, and feasibility in your application, that will be far more compelling than the number of years of work experience that you have. That's really how I was able to edge out competitors in the Ian Axford Fellowship. I was up against people that did have 10, 20 years more work experience than I did, just keeping these three elements in mind when making my pitch. So I hope that was helpful today, and I look forward to seeing you again in Pro Fellow Academy.